I'll tell you what I've learned in my journey in Breez for the past 4 years is that users don't care. Users don't care about all the stuff that we're saying inside the Bitcoin echo chamber. Like they don't care about holding their keys, and most of the users, right? Not the minority, but the majority of users, they don't care about trust. They don't care about holding their keys. They don't care about ideology. They don't care of any of that. They care about the value that they get. That's the only thing they care about. We are building Breeze and we're using Bitcoin because I believe that Bitcoin provides a value for end users when it comes to transfer value from point A to point B. Because if you're using Breeze to transfer value from point A to point B, it means you can do that in a borderless fashion, meaning you can transfer it like from any point in the world to another point in the world without any issues, without any problem, without any regulation, KYC, AML restrictions, and you can do that very cheaply.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Changing the Tide. I'm your host, Jon Crabtree. Today I am super stoked to invite Roy Sheinfeld, co-founder and CEO of Breez. That is a fantastic Lightning wallet, incredible technology. It is a Swiss Army knife. He has also called it the playground for the Lightning economy. And so it's hard to describe exactly what it is until you experience it. But the great thing is you can simply go to breeze.technology and download the Android or Apple iOS versions. And it is an ethical piece of Bitcoin software. You do not have to give your name, address, photo, or anything. You do not need to give any identification information. It's truly peer-to-peer. And Roy will talk about the advantages of that and how that is Satoshi's vision, peer-to-peer. And so he's built a wallet, but also an infrastructure piece as well. So he'll talk about the infrastructure, the pillars, the two pillars, infrastructure, and the applications on top of that infrastructure. But this one's going to be super exciting. Can't wait for you to listen. Let's get to it. Roy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Happy to be here.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to have you. And let's dive into the stats here. On Amboss, we have 16,525 public Lightning nodes, and there are 82,404 channels that are open amongst those nodes. Capacity on the public Lightning network recently just passed 4,000 BTC. We're now at 4,102.57 BTC. And the fees are pretty incredible no matter how long you want to wait. 1 sat per VByte to send a transaction or open or I guess close Lightning channels. And on Clark's dashboard, we're starting at block height 743,444. And on the Bitcoin network, there are 15,509 public Bitcoin nodes. As we've talked about before, though, Roy, those are only the public stats on the public Lightning network.
Yeah, exactly. First, we're recording on a Sunday, so on the weekends, fees are relatively low. So I recommend all the operators out there go and open your channels and close your channels during the weekend. Saturday and Sunday are the best days to do the on-chain transactions. And yeah, you're absolutely correct to say that the Amboss dashboard and other dashboards of the Lightning Network only show the public capacity. But I think people will be amazed how many channels we have in Breeze, and I guess Moon and Phoenix have the same on their applications. I think that like if you had to take into account the private capacity as well, then the numbers will be even more impressive.
Gotcha. Any numbers you can share, Roy, with the the public?
We have, I would say that we have tens of thousands of private channels.
Wow, wow. So when we say there are tens of thousands of reachable Bitcoin nodes on the public, we're just talking about one wallet here, one company, Breeze, that probably has very similar amount of, you know, Bitcoin and Lightning nodes.
Yeah, not how many channels we have now on the public network.
Let's see. 83,785 according to Clark's dashboard, and according to Amboss,
Yeah,
it's pretty close, 82,000.
yeah. So I would say that at least with among Breeze, Moon, and Phoenix, we have roughly the same. We can match the network, the public network as well.
That is incredible. Well, that's fantastic. And the cool thing there is, I know when I onboarded to, every time I've onboarded to Breeze, because I have multiple Breeze wallets on different devices, um, I don't need to input a picture. I don't need to input my name. I just download, and I can load with Sats immediately.
Yeah, peer to peer, baby. That's what it's all about. Breeze, it's very important for us, and it has been very important for us from the get go to do non custodial Lightning in order to avoid KYC AML, in order to realize what Satoshi had in mind regarding peer to peer electronic cash. So ideally, in a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, you don't need to identify yourself. You don't need to provide your phone number, any form of identification, or whatever in order to transact in the network.
Yeah. There's the specific part in the beginning, I believe, of the Bitcoin white paper where Satoshi talks specifically about the fact that there are intermediaries and the like.
Yep.
That the merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The value of Bitcoin is being peer-to-peer electronic cash without any third parties or any intermediaries controlling the transaction. That's the big thing about Bitcoin, and that's the value Bitcoin brings to the world. Plus the monetary system which is engraved to the code, plus the fact that the network itself, many people run Bitcoin nodes, so the network itself is very secured. So these three properties are the properties we're trying to to maintain when bringing Bitcoin to the second layer, to the Lightning Network as well.
that's awesome. And so, yeah, having heard you from other conversations you've had on podcasts and conferences, Breeze is a node that is running on the person's mobile device, correct?
Correct. That's exactly right. It's a fully featured Lightning node. Some people say a light node. I don't even like the term a light node. It's a fully featured functional Lightning node that is running on your mobile device. The difference between the node that we run on on the user mobile device and a routing node in the network is by the fact that we're using Neutrino. We're using a different protocol to interact with the on-chain information, BIP 157, 158. And the channels that we open to the Breeze users are private channels, meaning the node on the mobile device can't participate in routing of transactions. They just participate in the Lightning Network when users wants to receive or send funds. And that's because of the nature of the mobile OS, of the mobile device. if you're not running an app, if you're not running an app on the foreground of the mobile device, the app doesn't get CPU. So you can't have a service on your mobile device that is always on, and this service is really required in order to participate as a routing node. So that's not what we're doing. So we're opening private channels, so you'll only be able to receive and send funds, but you're not able to just forward payments like a regular routing node. But besides that, you're absolutely correct. It's a fully featured Lightning node, and we even expose in Breez. We have a developer interface where users can drill down into their node and see everything about their node. The things that we try to obfuscate from a non-tech savvy user, users can, like tech savvy users, can drill down and run ln CLI commands from the developer screen. So you can do list channels, you can interact with a chain, you can take a look at the network graph on everything. Like don't trust, verify. Go to your developer screen in Breez and see for yourself that you're running a fully featured Lightning node.
That's awesome. And do they just access that from GitHub, or is there kind of a separate like cloud login?
No,
Roy?
no. There is a screen under preferences. It's like it's kind of hidden in the Breez application. But if you toggle the preferences section on the side menu in Breez, the last screen you'll see is a developer screen, and you have like a command. We've built like a command line interface where users can run their own commands.
Oh wow, I see that right here.
Yeah,
I just have
exactly.
never.
Exactly.
Wow,
So go ahead and click on get info. For example, just open the general subsection, and run get info, and you'll see you're running a fully featured Lightning node.
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
not a custodial service. It's not anything like that. It's actually a peer-to-peer interface where when you send money or receive money, your node in the Lightning network actually receives and sends money.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. And so it can't route because it has to always be on, but on mobile OSs for just probably I'm guessing for power consumption saving, it doesn't give that app CPU power if it's not on.
Yeah.
Thus, it can't route.
The mobile OS is very restrictive in the permissions they grant to applications in order to save CPU, in order to make sure apps don't exploit the operating system and don't exploit the resources of the operating system. So there are a lot of restriction. There are subset of applications that can be always on, like for example, voice over IP application, applications that use GPS, but a general application like Breez can't really use can't be really always on when it comes to standard Android or standard iOS.
Yeah, yeah. So then I have described Breeze to many people before as a Bitcoin and Lightning Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
I think you have a different type of uh, explanation of it. But what all can you do with Breeze, Roy? For those who maybe don't have it on their phones right now.
Actually, I relate to the Swiss Army knife term. We can discuss our roadmap later, but I actually used the Swiss Army knife term in one of my latest Medium articles to describe what we're doing at Breez. So I don't call Breez a wallet. We can also talk about the term wallet when it comes to Bitcoin and Lightning. So I don't like to describe Breez as a wallet right now. I like to describe it as the interface to the Lightning economy. So you can think about Breez in two pillars. One pillar is the infrastructure pillar, where we briefly discussed For example, we allow user to run a fully functional Lightning node on their mobile device. We invented the LSP, the Lightning Service Provider concept, where we seamlessly plug and play people to the Lightning Network. We provide submarine swap services in order to provide users with a single balance, but still interact with on-chain. We provide them with the submarine swap capabilities where they can transfer funds to an on-chain address, and we convert it to off-chain balance, and vice versa. So people can send to an on-chain address via their Lightning balance. So we've done a lot in the space in order to make the Lightning experience, the non-custodial Lightning experience very simple and very digestible to non-tech savvy users. We want to bring non-custodial Lightning to the masses. That's one pillar of the work that we've been doing at Breez. Another pillar is the experiences that we've built on top of our infrastructure. So we have a basic interface, a basic wallet where you can send and receive funds using Lightning. But we've also built a point of sale interface into Breez. So everyone in the world right now can download Breez and become a merchant and start accepting Lightning payments using Breez with our point of sale terminal, with our point of sale interface. That's another experience that we've built. And we, for example, also added a podcast player to Breez. So people who listen to your show, John, for example, they can stream sats to you while they're listening to your show. So there's a peer-to-peer monetization between listeners and podcasters. That's another experience that we've built into Breez. So we've been experimenting with different ways where users and on how users interact with the Lightning economy.
That's incredible. I just have one question, Roy, because Augustine Karstens of the Bank for International Settlements told me that the center of money is trust, and central banks are best prepared for that, and we can transfer money cross border so much. That's the mandate of the central bank. So why use Breez?
I think he was very clear when he said that they want to know about every transaction you execute. Let's talk. Maybe let's take a step back, talk about money, and then talk about why Breez, because it's important to discuss what is money briefly in order to understand why use Breez. So Breez, what is money? What is money? I think you can say that money is either today a tool of the government, a tool of the states, and basically the definition of money is only what governments and states define as money. That is money, and in that regard, maybe Augustine is right. But there's an alternative definition of money, that money is the way to transfer value from point A to point B. It's the same definition that people have used throughout history by transferring values using salt, by transferring value using seashells. Now you can use Bitcoin to transfer money from point A to point B. So by the end of the day, I'll tell you what I've learned in my journey in Breez for the past 4 years is that users don't care. Users don't care about all the stuff that we're saying inside the Bitcoin echo chamber. Like they don't care about holding their keys. And most of the users, right? Not the minority, but the majority of users, they don't care about trust. They don't care about holding their keys. They don't care about ideology. They don't care of any of that. They care about the value that they get. That's the only thing they care about. We are building Breez and we're using Bitcoin because I believe that Bitcoin provides a value for end users when it comes to transfer value from point A to point B. Because if you're using Breez to transfer value from point A to point B, it means you can do that in a borderless fashion, meaning you can transfer like from any point in the world to another point in the world without any issues, without any problem, without any regulation, KYC, and AML restrictions. And you can do that very cheaply, meaning there are no intermediaries or third parties that can either halt your transaction or take a cut from your transaction. There are naturally Bitcoin fees and Lightning fees because the network needs to be incentivized, but the fees are relatively small. They're very proportional to the amount that you transfer, and the Bitcoin transaction in the chain and off the chain in the Lightning Network is censorship resistant, is borderless. So for me, as a technical person, from a technical standpoint, I think it's a better form of money compared to the Augustine definition of money.
Yeah, yeah. I just saw that tweet and I just kind of cracked up. But I kind of want to dive a little deeper into what you said, because the majority probably won't care. Well, and they may not even be at a point where they even understand. You know,
Mhm.
when I feel like that was a shot across the bow from the BIS towards the Bitcoin uh, community when they talked about like trust is the bedrock of money transfer, right? Most
Yeah.
people who read that would either say, yeah, totally, or if they're a Bitcoiner, would say, that doesn't sound that great.
Yeah.
Um, but what you're doing is you're building a service that is true to the ethos of Bitcoin without the user really even having to know about it. They're
Yes.
just
Yes.
using it.
Yeah, I think that's the way. Like I came to Bitcoin in 2018. I invested in Bitcoin back in 2013, but I went like all in on Bitcoin in 2018 after I read the Lightning Network white paper, and I saw that there's an opportunity to help Bitcoin do this transformation from a store of value to a medium of exchange. Because for me, using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, that's the game changer. And I think that's what I would like to invest my time on. But people, from like as a product centric person coming from the like not coming from the Bitcoin ecosystem, I'm bringing like a product centric approach to what I'm building, and I want to help Bitcoin appeal to the masses, and the masses don't care. And they just want to receive the value that Bitcoin provides, but they don't care about the underlying technology, and they don't care about channels, and they don't care about liquidity, and they don't care about splicing. They don't care about anything like which I also perceive as an implementation detail. So I'm trying to provide them with a Lightning experience without exposing them to the underlying implementation considerations of Lightning and Bitcoin. That's what I try to do. We try to do at Breez. Not We're not always succeeding. Like we're slowly getting there, but it's not on par with what custodial and fiat solution has to offer. But I strongly believe that we can get there, and in a relatively short time frame, a non-custodial Bitcoin offering can provide the same user experience that the custodial and non-custodial and fiat solution has to offer, and we're making the effort to get there, and to provide an experience to end user and provide them, exposing them to the value that Bitcoin can provide them. For example, every person in the world today can download Breez and become a merchant without having a bank account. So that's a clear value to end users. Like we have users in Africa and we have users in South America that they don't have access to the traditional fiat infrastructure. So how do you expect people to receive money for their work? I think Bitcoin provides a good way to do that, to monetize your business. So you can download Breez, you can accept payment in the market or in your mom and pop shop. That's a great value proposition, and you don't need to care about like custodial, non-custodial, your keys, what the BIS says or not. Like, you just receive money. Same goes for our podcast player listeners who are not necessarily care about that don't necessarily care about Bitcoin. They can interact with the podcaster. They can send messages to their podcaster using Bitcoin payments. They can stream sats per minute. When did you last stream fiat, stream dollars per minute? You can't really do that in the fiat on top of the fiat infrastructure, but you can do that in Bitcoin, and you can't attach boostergrams. That's the name we call the messages in the podcasting 2.0 world. You can attach messages to payments in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a better technology than fiat.
It really is.
So that's what, yeah. So we're focusing on bringing the value of Bitcoin and not necessarily exposing users to all the nuances and all the underlying infrastructure that is required in order to make it possible. Although one of our core principle of building the product is to build it like an onion, where advanced user can peel the layers and can take more control. They can understand better what is going on behind the scenes.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah. So the that's even a nod to the ethos of don't trust, verify. You know,
Yeah.
as you gain in your Bitcoin knowledge, you open up Breez, and it's the gift that keeps on giving because
Mhm.
you can see how it works, even down to the developer aspect of it. You know,
Yeah, and you can connect it to your own Lightning node, and you can connect it to your own Bitcoin node, and you can do whatever you want. We don't want to lock you to the Breez as a vendor, and we want to provide you with all the opportunity to explore and go down the rabbit hole as far as you want to go.
okay. So as you've added these services, so going back 4 years, you said, we're slowly getting there. We continue to work and iterate. And I mean, just to take a step back, in 4 years, there is a Bitcoin node on people's mobile devices that they can download, and they can stream sats to podcasters. They can accept sats for goods and services that they provide, and they can send them and receive them. They can send them to and receive them from basically anywhere in the world. I'd say that's a pretty darn good first first 4 years.
Yeah, we try. Like we understand that doing that and building a new economic infrastructure is not a sprint; it's a marathon, and we're here to run the marathon. From a user experience, I'm never content. Like I'm never 100% content. I always see things that we need to improve and make better in order to bring Bitcoin to the masses. But we're there. Like we're working on the stuff that we need to improve. For example, you talked about the Swiss Army knife. One of the things that I think doesn't scale is the fact that we're bringing all of these experiences into a single app. So Breez, like it's very hard. Like we just try to describe what is Breez, and it's difficult. And if you can't describe Breez, then we have a problem. So no, because like in the go to market, when you go to market and when you want to go to the masses and you want to attract millions and dozens tens of millions of users to use your applications, you need to be very clear about the value proposition. So as a product person, one thing that is always bothered me is the fact that we're cramming all the experiences into a single app. While I think we need to spin off the point of sale to a separate app. We need to spin off the podcasting player into a separate app. We also build other experiences that we haven't launched because of that issue. Like, for example, we've created something that allows you to stream sats to live video, so you can host a live video, and people can enter and start streaming sats to the host. So what we're doing right now, we partnered with Blockstream, and we're going to have another Breez offering on top of their Greenlight infrastructure. Greenlight is a user node infrastructure that runs in the cloud, but it is still a non-custodial experience because the keys resides on the user device. So it's kind of a hybrid model where you break the node into two separate pieces. The node itself runs in the cloud, but the signing, every time you send or receive a transaction, you, as a user, you need to authorize it and you need to sign the transaction, meaning no one can access your funds besides you. So we're adding a Breez offering on top of the Greenlight infrastructure, and that will allow us to spin off our experiences. Each experience can have their own separate application, which will be able to grow and nurture and build a funnel around it from a product standpoint. And we eventually even will be able to offer it as an SDK, as a programmable interface to other developers that will be able to use their own application, to integrate their own applications with this API SDK to add the Bitcoin monetization capabilities into their own stack. So you can think about social network application or gaming application or new financial service applications that want to add Bitcoin Lightning monetization. They will be able to use our own non-custodial infrastructure in order to add that to their offering.
And that's simply a result of changing the infrastructure somewhat so that you're not reliant on the mobile node, like on the phone.
Exactly. So all the building blocks of Breez still exist with the Greenlight offering. So our LSP is still there, and our sub swap services are still in place, and our fiat currencies service is still there, and our fiat on ramp service is still there. But the user node service, we're offloading it from the mobile device to a cloud infrastructure, and that means the infrastructure is accessible from multiple points and multiple places, actually accessible from everywhere. We can make it accessible from everywhere, which improve the user experiences. There are several more benefits to it, like the syncing issues you have in Breez today, because we rely on Neutrino and other latency that are involved with running a node on your mobile device, will also go away. But the big benefit, like the largest benefit of switching to a cloud interface, is the ability to be accessible from anywhere. And eventually, you can even think about Breez as a web infrastructure, meaning not tied only to mobile application, but also accessible from a web interface. So you can think about web application that can use the Breez infrastructure to add Lightning monetization into their own offering.
Yeah, wow, that's fantastic. And you guys aren't just doing this as kind of a shot in the dark. It sounds like from conversation you and I have had previously that you've seen some interesting growth every time you add a new service to Breez.
Yeah. So we talked about the way we see Breez, we see Bitcoin. Like, we see Bitcoin as a utility. Bitcoin provides utility. And whenever we added a new way of Bitcoin to provide utility to end users, we grew. in Breez. Like when we added the point of sale interface to Breez, we grew by 10x in the number of transactions, like in an order of magnitude. And we grew by another order of magnitude when we added the podcast player. So whenever we've managed to encapsulate the value of Bitcoin as a utility and to bring it to our users, we saw a large growth in adoption. And what we want to do, we actually want to do that, but in scale, like at scale. Like we want to provide the same utility to developer and to vendors and companies to be able to bring their own value, to encapsulate their own value on top of the Bitcoin Lightning infrastructure. I think that's the key. I think applications provides utility, and I think providing utility, that's the key to the adoption of Bitcoin.
Wow. Yeah, and out of curiosity, if you can share, do you know about how many transactions a day are running on Breeze currently?
We're doing between 200 to 300,000 transactions a month currently.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive. So if,
That's a sizable number. I took a look at the latest Accurane research paper on Lightning Network, and I think they're saying something that Lightning Network is doing. I don't know. I think it's around 1 million transactions a month. I think the number is much higher. If Breeze is doing between 200 to 300 transactions a day, I think the entire network is doing at least 10x more.
wow, yeah. So then adding this on, adding Greenlight from Blockstream and being able to add and spin out these services that are packed into one app into multiple ones and doing new ones, and you start seeing 10x on top of hundreds of thousands of transactions a month.
Yeah,
Uh,
you
that's
can you can imagine why I am so bullish about Bitcoin.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, no
I,
kidding.
yeah, yeah, because I see it. I see the reality. Like like we have users, we have transaction, we see the value that we bring to people. We see people that weren't familiar with Bitcoin previously to Breeze. We see them using Breeze. It's not always easy, but it exists, and most of our users are like that. We have the entire spectrum of users, from like a die-hard Bitcoiners to grandmothers that are using Bitcoin for the first time. It's all about providing value, and we see, like we've proved, that Bitcoin can provide value. So imagine if we unleash the power of Bitcoin and we bring it to the entire development, to the entire developer ecosystem. Imagine, I can't even imagine where we'll end up. Like the sky is the limit, literally.
Yeah, it really is. And if only A16Z and all these other VCs realize that they're always about the 10, 100x, 1,000x returns. If only they'd have just known.
Well, I think they're starting to realize that, right? Did they invest in David Marcus, who's supposedly going to do a Lightning venture now? I think they're starting to realize that at least they need to hedge their existing investment and invest some small portion of their investment in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is in Hebrew. There's a saying: the longest path is the shortest path. So definitely, Bitcoin is taking the longest path, but eventually it will be the shortest path, because everything else will fail and Bitcoin will prevail. So if I were in their shoes, I would advise them at least to hedge some of their investments in Bitcoin Lightning companies.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a wise saying that you mentioned from Hebrew, and that's that marathon concept for sure.
Exactly.
Um, there's also an important distinction. I was among several probably out there who thought that you were switching away from Lightning Labs LND implementation completely, but it sounds like it's more of an adding green
Yep.
light and core lightning from Blockstream than replacing
No.
LND.
Yeah. I'm not. We're not planning to discontinue our L&D offering. On the contrary, we want to continue bringing value to our existing users. We see value in the current offering that we brought to the market and will continue to nurture. This week, I'll release another service pack, another update to the Breez application. We're gonna add stats to the podcast player, meaning you'll be able to see your top podcasts on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. How many
Yes.
and we'll be able to share it in social networks. So that's one feature. Another feature which we were very excited about is NFC checkout in our point of sale solution. So there are new offering from Coin Corner. I don't know if you saw the Bolt card, but
Yes.
NFC Lightning NFC based solutions are spreading. So, for example, any merchant now will be able to download Breez, and customers will be able to use Bolt card or their own sovereign infrastructure using LN Beats or whatever LN URL with raw infrastructure they use in order to check out in the Breez terminal, in the Breez point of sale. That's another feature that we're adding, and there also we're adding a Wavelake, the music Lightning app
Yes.
to our app section. So we're continuing to work hard on our existing on our existing solution. It's not going away anytime soon.
That's fantastic. I just actually 2 days ago talked with Michael at Wavelake, and
Michael
we
is
did a
amazing. I'm very bullish about what Michael is building. And again, we talked about like bringing value, right? Think about the value Bitcoin brings to the music industry.
mm,
Artists for generation has been cut out of the supply chain, and there won't be, they weren't able to monetize their art. I think they get 0.004 cents per stream in Spotify or something ridiculous like that. Imagine if listeners will be able to compensate their artists directly using a dedicated app or a dedicated ecosystem. That's going to be a game changer for the music industry. And musicians also will be able to upsell directly to their listeners. Like they will be able to sell concert tickets or merch
mm.
or whatever. I think like the things that you can think of when it comes to like creating a peer-to-peer economy in the music industry and practically any content generation industry is staggering.
Yeah, yeah, it is staggering. Um, and I think through something like a Wavelake and how musicians, Michael and I talked about this, but used to rely specifically on a patron, right? And then that was way back in the day, and then concerts came around and that sort of thing. But the majority of like the money that musicians typically tend to make is from touring, which can be
Yep.
a very grueling
Yeah.
schedule.
And they have
And
no choice. They have no choice. Like that's the only way they can monetize their music right now, because they're not making money from the various streaming services. Spotify takes between 40 to 60% cut, and the rest goes to the labels and to who God knows who. Like the supply chain in the music
advertisers.
industry in the music industry is nuts. Like whenever someone tries to explain that to me, I always get lost because it's so convoluted that you can't even follow what's going on. And artists can follow what's going on. There were
Yeah.
several attempts in the past. Companies try to simplify it and try to provide more value to artists, and they failed because you need to fix the money. by the end of the day, you need to fix the money. If the money by itself has the need to go through intermediaries, to go through third parties, then you're fucked. You need peer-to-peer money in order to control your destiny. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So
It's like podcasting 2.0, and it's why a couple weeks ago, Dave and Adam spent a whole board meeting, on talking about music essentially. And I know both of them have musical backgrounds, and so you think through it. And the let's talk about this actually with podcasting 2.0. Was part of the reason that you joined in on that just understanding the toll that advertising takes on actual discourse of actual issues and discussions. Was
uh,
that part of it?
I think yeah, it was yeah, but it was fairly a short journey. Like Adam called me, Adam Curry, the podfather, he reached out to me, he called me, and after a 1 hour call, I was all in on podcasting 2.0 because I understood what these guys are trying to do. I understood they are trying to provide a free open platform for podcasters, and I understood why they really need Bitcoin, because without Bitcoin they can be deplatformed at any moment, and the only way for them to make a livelihood is by fixing the money. And even if they build the podcast index and all the infrastructure that is required for podcasting 2.0, if they won't have the monetization piece, the right monetization piece in place, then all the work that they've been doing is would be for nothing.
Mm,
Because they need peer-to-peer money for providing an open free platform for podcasters. So Adam brought me in. He was very persuasive. You know Adam, and you know how persuasive he can be. But like it was fantastic for Breez, and it was fantastic for us to understand that there are concrete domains. There are places where the value of Bitcoin is very obvious. Uh, that was part of coming to the realization that we need to provide a Breez as an infrastructure. And for example, if we want to expand podcasting 2.0, like Adam and Dave and Sir Spencer and Alex and all the movement behind podcasting 2.0 wants to expand podcasting 2.0 to music. Now with Michael and Sam, we need to have a music app, right? So the music app will need to use a peer-to-peer monetization infrastructure, and I want them to be able to leverage the infrastructure that we build in Breez. So I think the value proposition is pretty obvious, and I think whenever you no matter where you shift your eyes to, you'll see another domain where fixing the money can make a revolution and can really disrupt the existing ecosystem.
yeah, yeah, amazing. The point of sale. So this is an interesting one because one of the transitioning to the point of sale conversation. One of the things that's interesting is just the accounting piece of Lightning and Bitcoin. And so I know someone can get onto Breez and immediately start accepting Bitcoin for whatever they're selling, whether it's a good
Yeah.
or a service. They can also download their transaction data as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's not a toy like the Breez point of sale. Like we started up by experimenting and see if a point of sale interface can change the dynamics of people interacting with the Lightning economy. And it turned out that people want to use it as a point of sale terminal. So we had to expand on our solution. Actually, there are several features in the Lightning in our Lightning point of sale that enable users to use it like in a real life scenarios, in a real life real world use cases. So one of them is, as you discussed, you just said, accounting. Accounting is very important for merchant. They need to account for the money they receive. So Breez allows you to download your transactions to a CSV file and import it to your accounting system, whatever it may be. We also do reporting. So Breeze Point of Sale has a reporting capabilities that shows you a summary of your transactions per day, per week, per month, per custom time range. It's very easy for example, if you're working in a restaurant and you have waiters using the Breeze Point of Sale, the end of the day, they need to account for the sales that they've made in Breeze. They open the report and there's a summary of their daily transactions. Another feature we call the manager password, where managers can lock the Breeze Point of Sale to a receive only mode. So people that are using the Breeze Point of Sale can only receive, they can't send funds through the Breeze interface. We have what else do we have in the point? We have printing capabilities, so you can connect Breeze to a terminal printer and print receipts. I'm probably missing a couple of features, but that's in a nutshell. There's a lot of features that we've implemented that help facilitate Breeze as a point of sale terminal.
Yeah, yeah, because as we talk about changing the tide, right? The Bitcoin and Lightning truly being a tide changing technology. There's monetary repression. There's all different types of repression around the world, from governments and the like. Um, Obviously, if you start with the money, it helps you as an oppressive government to do the other things,
Yep.
and so
Yeah,
that
and every
includes
government
various.
today actually is an oppressive government, right? I think the balance, if you take a look at the balance between the governments and their citizens, the scale is completely skewed towards the government, and we need somehow to make the scale more even. And Bitcoin allows you to do that. Allows you to even up the scale a little bit. I think I told you that already. Like my friend went to his bank the other week, and he wanted to take some of his funds and go to Vegas to gamble, and they didn't allow him to take out his money from his own bank account because they didn't like the reason of him using the money to gamble. Like, what the hell is going on? And you're not talking about a third world country, and you're not talking about an oppressive government. Like, people won't say the Israeli government is an oppressive government, but still, like, the governments all around the world are using money as a tool to force their morality on their citizen, and the only way you can use money is only if it's aligned with the guidelines that your government has set. And if you don't agree, fuck you, it's not your money. Like, it's their money. The only way that you can use your money if is when you hold your keys and you hold your money. So either use cash and hide it somewhere at your home, or use Bitcoin. Just don't forget to write your seed mnemonics.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and you have two clear choices there. You have cash, which is being devalued by every central bank.
Yeah,
So the longer you hold it, the less you can purchase with it once you do need to use it.
and you can't
Or
really
you
transfer
can,
it, right? How can you transfer cash from one state to the other?
yeah, yeah. Before I forget, you mentioned NFC, and Coin Corner and Lightning NFC. Have you had any conversation with CoinKite about their on-chain devices and how they're integrating NFC, like tap signer,
So
stats card?
I met the guy. I forgot his name, but I met him in Miami, and I got some coin kite cards. And actually, it's very cool. Like I really liked. I don't know if they released their mobile application yet or not, but I'm looking forward to their mobile application. That would be a complete a game changer when it comes uh, to user experience. Like that, I think it's very smart, and I think like having the code on the card is very smart. That's way also it's protectable from people trying to hijack your NFC chip or stuff like that. Uh, the coin corner solution, the ball card solution, is good because each of the LNURL transaction is different because they added
Yep.
this technology to that revokes the previous link, but still one link when you can steal a link, and actually you need also to trust the point of sale not to steal your funds. Like they can use all the funds that resides on the card. uh, so in that regard, the CoinKite solution is better. But I think we'll see improvements in the Lightning space as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It'd be interesting to see Breeze, since it can do both. Obviously be able to do both of those if someone has, a tap signer or whatever, and someone's got a Breeze. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just a
we
thought I had.
see the on-chain still as like you need to top up from the chain and maybe settle in the chain, like after, for example, a merchant, after receiving dozens of transactions, they want to transfer their funds to the chain. Maybe the chain is becoming the savings account, and Lightning is the checking account. I
Hmm.
think in that regard, we still think our point of sale should be Lightning, and on-chain
That makes sense.
interaction should be like kind of the settlement layer after you. It's like moving the money from your leather wallet to your bank account or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To use the analogy from the old world.
Yeah,
uh, so then, to talk a little bit, Roy, about Pleb TLV, a new initiative you have coming out.
yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's very exciting and I'm actually overwhelmed by the response that I got to Pleb TLV. We have dozens of applicants since we announced it the other way, like the week before last. Yeah, so we're starting a Bitcoin Lightning incubator in Tel Aviv. I'm really excited of the initiative in Austin, the Pleb Lab initiative that Stacker News, for example, came out of Pleb Lab, and more exciting companies will come out of Pleb Lab. There's a lot that you can do on top of Bitcoin and Lightning as a technology, and we don't really feel that in Israel. Like Israel has a very strong, Tel Aviv specifically has a very strong Bitcoin community. There's a Bitcoin embassy downtown Tel Aviv, but there's not a lot of Bitcoin companies. There's not a lot of Bitcoin development that is going on, around in Israel, because there are multiple reasons. One is the fact that Israel is like to make a quick buck. Like they like the speculative element of shitcoins, but that's only part of the problem. Another part of the problem is that they are unfamiliar with the Bitcoin technology and the Lightning technology. So there's a lot of lessons I've learned in the past 4 years on how to build a Bitcoin Lightning company in Israel, but also the interface with the outside world. I want to teach some of these lessons that I learned to others, and to have a flourishing Bitcoin Lightning ecosystem of companies in Israel. So whatever we can do in order to make it happen, in order to cultivate it, we will try to do it. And it's not just me, it's also some of the Breez investors are involved, and other consultant from, we have Ryan Gentry from and Jacob from Lightning Labs. We have Giacomo Zucco. So it's a global initiative that geared toward helping companies in Israel to ramp on to the Lightning Bitcoin economy.
Yeah, just like Breeze is a company with a lot of with employees around the globe. Bitcoin and Lightning is a network with nodes on every continent, and so it's really cool to see the growth.
Yep.
In the actual physical places people can gather to learn.
It's amazing. Like, the
And
Bitcoin community is amazing. I'm absolutely amazed every time I need to reach out to, if I need something in Italy, or I need something in the States, or I need something in South America. I have friends now all over. Like, the power of the network is absolutely amazing, and I use the power of the network every time. And like, I'm reaching out. Like, I know I have a friend in every place in the world because we're Bitcoiners. And that's you can't imagine how much I get from the power of Bitcoin as a human network.
yes, yeah, that's a part of it that when people ask what's the value of Bitcoin, it is the technology network itself. But behind that, powering that, are humans who have a certain set of, I guess, values, right?
Yeah.
Morality, and it's very common and shared.
Yeah, and it's really irreplaceable, like, and uncomparable to anything, to any other experience I had in my life. It's very, very empowering and very powerful. And literally, I use it every day. Like, last week, my friend had to go to Miami for a short visit. I called my Bitcoiners in Miami and asked them a couple of questions that he needed to know about, like, and done. Same goes to, like, it. I'm actually practicing it every day now, like, being in communication with Bitcoiners all over the world. And I'm not just talking about Breeze. I'm also from a personal level.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, and even today, I'm talking to you from the States, and you're halfway across the world, and
Yeah,
that's a really cool thing.
yeah, and you've spoken about the Breeze developers. I have a guy in Turkey, and I have a guy in Brazil, and I have two developers in India. And the only way that I can pay them, by the way, is by using Bitcoin.
Yeah, and they probably really appreciate that because I've had other conversations about
My
this. But
Turkish developer specifically,
which developer?
my developer from
Oh,
Turkey specifically is very appreciative of receiving Bitcoin, because the Turkish lira has been completely
yes,
useless.
yeah, just devalued like crazy.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I could imagine potentially that payments between a country like Israel and a country like Turkey could be have more scrutiny on them potentially.
Yeah, but even put the political issues aside. Like, even doing like a like, I'm participating in surfing Bitcoin in August, and I had to receive
Nice.
funds from France to Israel. It took 2 weeks for the payment to arrive. Initially, the payment was declined. Then they were able to sort it out with their bank, but until it got into my bank, and my bank called me and asked me, why do I need this money, and why am I getting this money? And it took 2 weeks for me to get the payment, and it wasn't a high payment. Like, I'm talking like a couple of hundreds of bucks. So crazy. It's a crazy world we're living in.
Yeah, and as more and more people understand the power of um, no one's behind a counter or a phone asking you about your money, as they experience that compared to what is already happening and what should be coming with CBDCs and that sort of thing that are being threatened. The choice will become clearer and clearer, I think. So
Yeah, yeah, because it's either days or weeks to send the transactions or seconds. You decide.
you decide, and users will flock to what's easiest and what works.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You can't block a better technology. You government can't and already gave up on blocking the internet, and they the same will happen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a better technology of transferring value. Bitcoin is a better form of money, and people will eventually replace bad money with good money. So it's as simple as that. It's a slow process. It will take time, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. Maybe a last question for you. With You started the concept of LSP, Lightning Service Provider, um, and there have been others now that have kind of joined in. John at Synonym with Block Tank. You guys were on a shared space a couple months ago talking about um, the concept of LSP. Are you excited to see all these other LSPs
Of
grow
course.
up? Yeah,
Of course. John is a no-brainer because John is a thought leader. He understands where Lightning needs to go. We're actually working with Synonym, Voltage, and other companies together in order to form an LSP standard. Lightning, by the end of the day, Lightning is a liquidity network. And in order to make Lightning better, we need more liquidity in the network. More liquidity in the network will generate more traffic. More traffic will generate more yield. It's all about the incentive of running a Lightning node and putting liquidity into Lightning. We need more money. Generally speaking, we need more money in the network. Developing the LSP concept, using the LSP concepts in order to generate yield for people who put their liquidity in Lightning is crucial to the success of the Lightning Network. So I'm thrilled to see people first using the term Lightning Service Providers. Like it's a less technical term than the Lightning node. It's a term that
yeah,
encapsulates the need to onboard users to the Lightning Network and to onboard users easily to the Lightning Network. So that's already a mind shift when it comes to the Lightning Network from a technology, like we're crossing the chasm from technology to adoption, to early adoption phase. And I'm thrilled to see more companies and more vendors wanting to be an LSP and asking me like how can I become an LSP in the network, because the more the liquidity we can get and we can harness, the better the network will become.
that's great. Yeah, it's a liquidity network. And the concept of LSP, Lightning Service Providers, just getting people onboarded to Lightning, is
Yeah.
that at its lowest level.
Yes, it's exactly like I borrowed the term from the ISP world, where you just connect the cord at your home from the router to your socket. You just plug it into your socket, and you're magically connected to the internet. We need to bring the same user experience to the Lightning Network. You need to be magically connected to the network just by downloading an app or scanning a QR code. And I think more and more people are realizing that, and a user experience of getting liquidity, interacting with liquidity is getting better over time. And I think within a year, when you add another layer, which is the liquidity marketplace layer, it's not enough to be an LSP. You need a marketplace where all these LSP interact between them, and the additions of tools like liquidity ads and Lightning Pool. I think we within a year from now will be in a completely, the onboarding landscape will be completely different. It will be much easier to onboard. The market will be much more competitive, So I'm excited to see how things unfold.
Wonderful. Roy, besides just going to the stores and downloading Breez and just getting started, how else can people find you and Breez?
So you can go to our websites, or all the links are available in our websites, breeze.technology. You can find us on Twitter, breeze_tech. You can visit our GitHub. It's the Breeze repository without an E at the end. It's Breeze, Breez, in GitHub. You can follow us on Medium. I'm trying to write regularly on the Lightning Network and on Breez technology publication on Medium. And you can find me everywhere. You can feel free to DM me if you want to be part of the revolution.
I can confirm that Roy is very responsive, so he's in it for the mission for sure. And I highly recommend those Medium articles for people who have not read Roy write a blog. It's another thing he does that's pretty incredible. So
thank you so much, John.
Yeah, Roy, it's been fun having you on the show.
My pleasure.
Also, Lightning Store, if you
yeah, shout
if
out
you
to
can
Sam.
go.
Also, another great dude that is trying to do everything he can to support the Lightning Network. I don't know if you had him on your show, but you need to have him on your show. He's working on the music piece of Lightning right now. An incredible guy. We did a collaboration on the Lightning Store where you could buy the Breeze merch. And thank you, John, for showing our T-shirt live.
This one's cool, the Streaming Sats T-shirt, and that's what you can do with Breez. All right, thanks again, Roy.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for having me.
Amazing session. I am absolutely blown away by not only what Roy and the Breez team have built, his worldwide group of developers and teammates, but also the humility that he has around what he's doing. So very just awesome to see someone who has such ability, but is also extremely humble and is doing incredible things. And it's about the users. It's the product-centric, user-centric approach. And that is huge, bringing that to Bitcoin. I am stoked on what's coming. Music, Wave Lake. And so that was just the session previous that I just a couple days ago recorded with Michael Rhee, the founder and CEO there. Just such exciting stuff to add that in to Breez, as well as live video. Kind of reminds me of what Vita Live is doing. So it's exciting to see multiple applications of that. I'll tell you what, there's just so many reasons to be bullish on Bitcoin and Lightning beyond what you see in public. And so, man, 200 to 300,000 transactions a month on Breez. Just imagine when that 10x's. And it's not just happening on Breez, but Phoenix, Moon, and the other non-custodial services as well. Zeus, people who've are managing their nodes via Zeus Wallet. As we start adding those in, the bullishness is just going to get to a boiling point for sure. Things are going to boil over. There's no doubt in my mind, and so I am just super stoked about that. Wanted to talk about the winner of this week for the 2,500 Sats on his Techo, as well as Fountain's 50,000 Sats. It's the final 50,000 Sat prize. That is Chan Chi, who streamed to session 19 with Becoming Phil, the CEO and founder of Landifa Bitcoin. So at CHANCHI, congrats to you on winning the 50,000 Sat prize from Fountain, as well as 5,000 Sats from my BitRamp terminal. And yeah, if you liked the show, please like, subscribe, especially on Breez and Fountain, where you can stream Sats. The idea of I was licking my chops at Roy talking about podcaster stats coming to Breez, and so Oscar at Fountain, if you're listening, I've been asking you that too. Would love to see it. And it's just going to help in a lot of different ways. But please like, subscribe, stream sats. You can like and subscribe on the legacy platforms, but why would you? Because you can actually get involved in podcasting 2.0, which really none of the legacy systems thus far have done. And so everything from live podcasts to live video podcasts to being able to stream sats, send messages, let your favorite podcasters know. It is I don't want to say a grind because it's worth it, but it is, there's a lot of work that goes into creating a show, and you would be shocked at just what a small amount of sats plus a message of encouragement or questions can do for a podcaster's joy factor. So, but yeah, I'm excited that you were listening, and let's keep stacking sats while they're cheap. But let's be honest, we're going to stack sats whenever we can, but using Breez, we're also going to send them to places because it gets us out of the forced closed economy and into the open opt-in economy of Bitcoin and Lightning. And so, until next time, keep stacking, stay safe, and let's keep changing the world.